And we are live with another episode of What the Flock podcast. I'm Heather from Tog Hauler Farm and Aviary.
And I'm Sean from Birds by Us.
And we have a special guest with us today, Haidar from Brookshire Birds.
How you guys doing?
And Sean has a little special guest with him too.
Hey y'all, so this is my green wing macaw. I had rescued this macaw and I'm trying to rehabilitate him. Here he is. Say hi.
Okay, so we'll get right into the
That's
questions.
a little loud. Don't mind the company.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to get into the questions here. So tell us a little bit about your aviary and what birds you raise, Haidar.
So I raise a variety of birds. I raise several parrot species ranging from like green cheek conures to Nande conures. I have sun conures, dusky conures. What else? I have pearly conures, black cap conures. And I'm going to be getting into the gendays, the gold caps, and you know the other rare conures. I really like the painteds. I like the smaller ones that have a little bit more of color to them. Not too many people have them. I've also had the rosy fronds in the past. I don't have any now. And I also work with Quakers, several color mutations, same thing with the green cheek. So my main focus is really in the green cheeks and Quakers, the different color mutations. I also have several species of galliforms, which are like, pheasants, land game fowl, or something along those lines. So several pheasants. I have silver pheasants, white-crested Khalij pheasants. I have Germain peacock pheasants, gray peacock pheasants. I have red golden. I have golden. I have silver Lewis pheasants. I also have Swinho pheasants. They are like a blue color. We'll get into the pheasants if you guys want to know more about those. You guys can leave a question in the comment below. I can go more in depth on that for you guys. I also raise several ratites. I have Rhea and emu. I have 4 Rhea and about 5 emus. I've raised pretty much all of them since they were young. I've had them for about 2 years so far. I have curassows, which are a tropical bird. Well, like sort of tropical. Yeah, I would call them tropical bird. They are the size of a turkey, but they are nothing like a turkey. A lot of people like to compare them to turkeys. No, this is not a turkey. This bird is, I have 2 varieties. I have the greater curassow, which have like a crest, like a cockatiel kind of, but with more curls along, their head. I have the helmeted curassow, which have like a ball here, like on top of their head. I also have peacocks, several kinds of chickens, cockatiels, parakeets, English parakeets. I have lineolated parakeets. That's something I'm really trying to get more into. I have 1 pair of turquoise and I have a single male. He's olive color. I have 3 pairs of parrotlets, a few pairs of lovebirds. I do canary and finches as well. I'm not too focused on them, but I believe I will, try to do my best with those. And so I have violet Turacos. I have a pair. I have a pair of Persa Turacos. The Persa Turacos are young. The violet Turacos are mature. I have a red-billed blue magpie jay. I have a female. And I'm looking for a male for her as well. Either that or if somebody has a male and would like to purchase her, they can also let me know. But bills are interesting. I'm also getting Mina soon, the common Mina, not the greater hills. Eventually, I probably will. That's pretty much it. I mean, that's pretty much it for the bird part of it,
All right, Haidar. Leading on to the next question, if you don't mind us asking, how did you get into birds?
Well, since a young age, I grew up around birds. I started with like chickens and ducks, just the domestic farm animals. I've always loved them. I also did, have some rabbits as well. I do have rabbits now. But as I aged and got older and had more time on my hands, I would just watch YouTube. And my animal obsession, let's call it that, really started with reptiles. To tell you the truth, I used to look up reptile room tours and watch videos, hours on hours, and I would just kind of try to mimic. I don't know if you can see right here is actually a panther chameleon. He was my first ever panther chameleon. He's still with me today. He's about 4 or 5. So yeah, it started with the reptile. It started with the domestic farm animals, reptiles. So I had like an all-around love for animals. And then as I aged, let's say to my teenage years, I really started to focus more on the farm animals rather than the reptiles, and I began breeding the Ayam Samani, which is the black, all black chicken.
Yeah.
They have the fibromelanistic gene in them, pretty much. So I was breeding those, and I was doing those for about like a year or two, and then I met a few people while selling them, and then I met a few people with parrots. And I also grew up around parrots as well, but not in like a large quantity. Like my parents used to have like a Malaccan cockatoo, Patagonian conure, all that stuff. But and also cockatiels. They used to breed cockatiels just for like fun, nothing
Right,
business
yeah.
related.
It's like a hobby.
But so like I said, as I got older, I just kind of rekindled the love for parrots, I guess you would say, because I did have them in my life before. And I got my first parrot, which actually was a green cheek conure, turquoise green cheek conure. And I kind of rescued her because I bought her along with a parakeet, and she was plucked. Like, I mean, she had no feathers on her neck or her body. And I didn't really care much for that, And she was tame, but you could tell she was kind of like scared. I'm not sure what situation she was really in, but
Right, yeah.
I took care of her, and now she has her feathers back, and she does a good job. She's a great mother. She's not my pet anymore. And then my second parrot was a black cap Kaik, which actually is the male to the breeding pair I have. He started off as tame as well, and I actually traded. I used to breed Bengal cats as well, so I traded one baby Bengal cat for that Kaik. So
Wow.
I kind of got out of Bengals after that. I could continue. I have one right now as my pet, but not really into the breeding anymore. So I got that one, and then I became as I got older, I became more knowledgeable, and I started meeting more people as far as the game birds go, like for the pheasants and
Yeah.
sows and all that. So I ended up getting a few pheasant species. Well, first, of course, I built the enclosures. Me and my father, we built maybe like 8 or 9 cages, and we built them like an assembly line, So we have each of them is like 12 by 12 by like 10 feet high, I believe, or maybe 8 feet high. And then we went ahead and purchased the pheasants, and we started breeding those. Those are a lot of fun. Some pheasants are aggressive while some are not. And some of them, it depends on how you raise them, really. For example, silver pheasants, those are, the males are really aggressive. The male I have, he's
Are they
pretty
like
aggressive.
roosters and will chase you down?
Yeah, but this guy is like bad. Like you got to wear a hard hat when you go to feed him, or else he's gonna poke you on your head.
Oh
Like he
God.
stabbed. But I will say, I have seen like on Instagram somewhere, some lady raised one from a chick, I believe, and it was pretty tame. So it could be, the way you raise them.
Yeah, it just depends.
I'm not 100% sure. I've hatched babies from them before, and I've sold them, but I've never, spent the time and hand raised one, like she did. But the pheasants are pretty interesting. I've raised the red golden, the normal golden. The red golden and normal golden are more tame. Some people actually like free range them somewhat, like they let them out and then they put them back in, and that's pretty interesting. That's nice. I don't do that myself, just because the risk, especially if you have other animals around, they may get frightened and fly away. I
Right.
have I also have the Lady Amherst pheasants, and I mentioned the peacock pheasants, correct?
Yeah.
And I also have Swinho pheasants. They're like a blue color. The male, and they're actually they're not Cape pheasants. Okay, Cape pheasants are the Lady Amherst and the golden pheasant. But anyways, I have those. I raise several babies every year, and I also got into the soft bills around the same time. So I'm giving you guys kind of like a timeline of what I got first and what I have now, pretty much like when I acquired.
And let me just say, like, you guys did a really great job on like your cages, like like especially for your soft bills, and like those cages are really like awesome. Like they have like made out of like wood and like
Yeah.
and the caging, like it literally is just amazing. It's like literally like zoo enclosures.
For the span that you've been doing birds, I mean, man, hands down, like that's respect. You've gotten so much done, and and most importantly, a lot of people don't know, but you're only a couple of years older than I am, and we're the new avicultures that are going to be running aviculture. So having a person like yourself a part of the aviculture team, it definitely helps out because you seem to have a lot of knowledge in what you do. So that's a lot of respect for you.
Thank you. I also respect about you guys as well. As I was messaging you guys about your podcast, I really like what you guys are doing. You guys are young. You're taking that step, putting your foot in the door, and you're trying to get yourselves out there as long as share the knowledge with everybody else. And I really like that, and I just think you guys should keep it up. I really do.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And
because the reality is we are the future,
Yeah.
I mean, some people realize that, some people don't. There's nice people, there's mean people, but hey, people are people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And we just do it because we love it. That's why we do it.
Exactly.
We enjoy it. We enjoy talking to new people and meeting new people. So that's why we keep doing what we do. And so moving along here, so tell us, is there a favorite species that you keep? Like out of all your birds, everything you raise, what's your favorite animal?
I really could not tell you. I really don't know. I really do not know. I like all my animals. I cannot pick a favorite. All of them have their own thing. For example, I like the Quaker parrots because they're goofy, they're cute looking, they're poofy, they talk more than the green cheeks. I like the green cheeks because they're small, quiet, and sweet. They do talk. They're not that quiet, but they're the most quiet out of all of the conures, I would say. The curassows, I love them because just looking at them is an experience. Really, it is. But in person, not on camera or any of that. Just watching how that's really what I do with my animals. To tell you the truth, I raise them, but at the same time, I'm just observing and I'm living with them. They are like my friends,
Yeah.
So every animal, that's how I treat them, like my friend. The curassows, they're very animated and they're very big and they just are so striking to look at. Like they're not like any sort of animal you've ever seen. Like you just have to see it to understand. And like I said, I have two varieties. And I do know for a fact, I have not produced any curassows myself yet. This year I hope to produce graders that they can become very good pets. I do know a few people raise the graders and also the helmetids, and they sell them to zoos. And they hand feed them and hand raise them, and they're really like something special.
So let me ask you a quick question about the curassow. So like, are they like? I don't know too much about them. Do they fly like around the aviary, or do they like walk on the ground more, or is it just a mixture?
So they walk more, but they also fly. They're sort of like peacocks in a sense.
Okay.
They're not gonna fly like a bird, like a parrot, no, but they can fly. Like, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I get what you're saying.
So they jump and they walk more than they fly, but they fly and they're good at flying.
And they like perch at night, like just kind of like a peacock does. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
And as for like breeding these guys, do they have the same nesting box or nesting place as like a cockatiel or like an African gray or like a similar nest box like that, or is they have like a different nesting area?
Are you talking about the curassows?
Correct.
No, curassows are like I told you, they're like a turkey-sized bird. Like they're nothing like a small parrot. The curassows, for my nests, I haven't put any yet because they're immature. But like I said, my graders are going to be mature this year. I'm going to use, I'm not sure what you would call it. It's like a container, like a giant container that they usually fill with like chemicals and stuff like that. kind of like a barrel. Let's just say that. That's
Yeah,
perfect.
that was my initial question. Like, do they have like a box or something that they lay eggs and breed in, or is it like on the ground they just lay eggs and they just sit on them, like chicken?
Well, they could do that, but for mine, I already have the barrel. I just need to cut it and put
Okay.
it. So it's my barrel, and I'm just gonna cut it like kind of like an L shape. So there's like a little bit like there's one side that's fully like there, and then the other side is just like a flat. So it's like an L kind of. You understand? And then this is where they're gonna nest. So that's how I'm gonna do my nests for the curassows. There's many ways that you can do it. It's not one size fits all. You know, everybody, even in how you take care of the animals, it's never one size fits all. You know, so
Right. Yeah. So are they arboreal nesters, or do they tend to build their nest like on the ground, like in logs on the ground or in the wild, or how does that work?
I believe they actually lay their eggs on the floor.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I've never seen one like pick up material and like go to a tree and put it together. But I could be wrong.
So it's a lot like an emu, pretty much, as far as that goes, and like they tend to lay their eggs in like a on the ground, or like in a like so you're gonna put your nest, or the nest you make, like towards on the ground instead of like putting it up high.
No. Well, actually, the nest I'm gonna put it elevated just in case rain, or
Oh, okay,
flood.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's gonna be somewhat elevated, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
got you. And okay, so since we got the lowdown on the carousels, now let's talk about your ratites, your your rheas, your emus. Give us the lowdown, because emus to most people are super intimidating. They're big birds, you know what I mean? Like when you walk up to an emu, like everybody's like, "Oh my God, this bird is so huge!" Like it's intimidating. Like, and you've even had some experience with ostriches, which are even more intimidating. So, like, just tell us a little bit about these types of birds, how it is to raise them. Like, just give us a
Okay.
lowdown.
So the emus, don't get it wrong, okay? Emus, any animal can be aggressive, right?
Right. Yeah.
From my experience, the emus are the most tameable. For example, like I said, I've raised all of my ratites from babies. The emus, as long as you interact with them and you bother them enough, there's why I say bothers, because they're not gonna like you at first. So you're gonna have to kind of like make them like you. They're gonna run away, but you just gotta keep touching them as they run away. And then once you do that for a while, they get used to you, and then really they turn out to be like a dog. You can sit there, they'll sit for you. You'll pet them and they'll sit like a dog right there in front of you. You can even go hug them, and they really will not kick you. They don't really get aggressive during the breeding season. The males can get, and the males and the females can get hormonal. But they're not
Yeah.
really like ostriches, where like the ostrich, he will kill you. The male will literally kill you. I believe
Yeah.
I've read this online. He has the most testosterone out of all land animals. The ostrich, he does, and I think that has to do with the aggression. So the Rhea, I always hear that they're super aggressive, or the males are super aggressive. I have not had that issue with mine. I'm not sure if it's because I have all females. I haven't really sexed them yet, but like I said, I have 4, and I doubt that they're all the same gender. But that is a possibility. I am going to do the feather testing on them just to figure it out. But they've never shown aggression. But at the same time, they've never been as tame as the emus.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
they're way faster as far as when the food comes. Oh, they're the first ones there, and their strike is much faster than the emu. They're smaller and they're slim, and and
Are
really what
they
I like.
faster?
I'm not sure. I believe so though, because they are lighter weight, so I believe they are. But
I've
I
seen
could be
one run, and it runs pretty fast. Like they're
yeah,
they're
yeah.
pretty cool.
But I could be wrong, because the emus have such a bigger leg. They could be more
Yeah.
powerful. But the Rheas are beautiful, especially when they run. They like fan their wings out, and they kind of like do like a dance, sort of. It's really nice. It's really nice to see when they do that. I have the white color and I have the normal color, and they're just amazing. Really, they are.
Okay. And so before we move on here, Sean prepared some nice slides of your birds. We could take a little. We could show everybody that. Gonna pull that up there, Sean.
Yeah, we're
let's do it.
talking about your birds. Let's show the audience some of the nice looking birds you have.
Yeah.
Just give me 1 second. Could you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Oh, wait 1 second, guys. Let me just turn off my camera. There we go. All right. Could you guys see?
Yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Yeah, and these are just some of his beautiful birds, and as you can see, he had his cavy up there, which is also a super cute animal he's got on his farm.
I believe the cavity's in the next slide.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the photo on the top left is my baby Persa Turaco. Sean, if you want to go back to that slide.
Yep.
Yeah. The one next to that in the middle on top is a Indian blue peacock. He's a breeder male. He's a gorgeous, gorgeous specimen. Very long tail. And to the right is a photo I took right after I pulled some Quakers and green cheeks last year. It's two green opaline babies in the front and then two cinnamon green cheeks in the back. Bottom left is several green cheeks, conures, lovebirds, and I believe that's it. Yeah, that I raised last year. Actually, I kept all those for breeding, and they're still today. The one in the middle next to those are Borky parakeets. They're gorgeous. One of them is a rosy Borky, and the other one's a normal color. And the next to them is the curassows. Those are the greater curassows. The one in the far back is black with the yellow knob, as in on top of his beak. The one that's black with the yellow knob is the male, and the one in the front is a female with the brown body and white and black face, sort of like a zebra, stripes.
Hold on. Doesn't correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't it look similar to a dodo bird?
No, I don't believe so. The dodo bird has a very long beak, similar to a toucan. Actually,
Look at its face though. I mean, and its body. It looks. I don't know why, but I can get a connection of it looking like a dodo bird.
Hey, but I'll tell you what. If these kind of birds are not bred enough and not conserved enough, they will be like the dodo bird. So a lot of
Yes,
people.
you don't ever see them. I've never seen, like, I didn't even know they existed until, like, you and then one other aviculturist I have on my friends list, they showed one, and I was like, whoa, that thing is like straight out of like the prehistoric times. That thing is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it looks really cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's very dinosaur age looking, Jurassic. But I'll tell
Yeah.
you what, I do know quite a bit of people are raising them, but not enough people are, to tell you the truth.
Right, yes. I would love to get some in the future because they look really cool. I mean, honestly, my aviary, Tog Hollow Farm and Aviary, I used to have a farm and I had to move away from my farm for a good bit. But coming here soon, I'll be buying land and I'll be able to get back into the farm animals. I had geese and ducks and chickens, pigs, goats. I miss those animals a lot, and I can't wait to get into some of the like larger farm birds and the bigger birds like those. They're just going to be fun to raise.
Yeah, well, if you ever need anything, Brookshire Birds is here to help. Just remember that.
Right. So let's move on now, and we could talk about you have another interesting bird that you raise. It's a magpie jay, and these are really cool. They're beautiful birds, and they have a unique diet. Can you just tell us about the magpie jay and like the diet it has?
Yeah, so for the magpie jay, Sean, if you want to switch the slide to show the picture. Yeah, okay. Oh, the picture's not there, huh? Okay. So for the magpie, yeah, it's not a problem. For the magpie jay, you're gonna want to feed it the Missouri softbill pellet diets every day, along with fresh fruit and along with. I feed my magpie jay one small, not a pinky, but like a little bit bigger than a pinky, once a week, and I do diversify that. So I'll feed some raw fish or some raw chicken or rabbit meat. And if you actually look up red-billed blue magpie jay, that's the exact one that I have. And the reason I was drawn to this species is because, you know, the red beak it really stands out, and I have not really seen too many of these. Not a lot of people have
Yes,
them.
and that long tail is like very interesting. Like that's really unique.
That tail, it's only a short time period where they actually keep that tail long. They'll actually molt it, you know, and it's really gorgeous when they're in full plumage. It's really gorgeous. I know for the magpie jays, I also feed a little bit of high protein cat food as well, because, you know, they need that. I mix that in their diet as well. But like I said, you know, some fruits and some vegetables as well, like carrots, a little bit of carrots. Papaya is a main ingredient in a lot of my soft bills diet. Papaya, apple, pears, grapes, some cantaloupe at times. What else? And actually, yeah, you know, that's all I can remember for now. But actually, a lot of these soft bills, you're not supposed to feed them citrus, and I'm not sure. I believe parrots, you know, they can eat citrus, some citrus, but for the soft bills, yeah, for the soft bills, it's not recommended. I think you should not feed them that. I'm not sure the exact reason. It might be too acidic. But, you know, the fruits similar to papaya or apple, grapes, and all that is good. Blueberries as well. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Blueberries. So blueberries are also good for them as well. I feed that to all my soft bills, not only the red-billed blue magpie jay. I feed that to the violet Turacos, to the Persa Turacos, and really I feed that more, you know, to all the birds, not just my soft bills, because it's good for them. You know, it's really healthy. And I'll tell you what, emus at first, they don't like fruit because they don't know what it is. But once they figure out what it is, good luck. All right.
Right. On to our next question here. So, would you recommend raising these large soft bills to everyone or only like experienced keepers? Like, so for example, like, would you say you were just getting into birds? Do you think it would be wise to get into just like these larger soft bills and those species, or do you think it's more wise to like have other birds first and then get into them?
Well, it could go two ways with that. You know, a lot of people probably would say no, right? It could probably get controversial. If you ask me my opinion, I believe if you're prepared and you've done enough research, um, you know, maybe start off with something similar, like a domesticated farm animal first, you know, for a year or so, and then get into the curassows. But I mean, really, there's not much to it as long as they have a big enough enclosure, and a proper enclosure. So mine are actually like 16 feet high, I believe, by 11 feet wide by 16 feet long. They're pretty lengthy, you know, pretty big cages. That, you know, they're big animals. They need some space. So as long as you have, you know, everything prepared properly, you know, you have an area for them to go when it's cold, because, you know, they don't tolerate the cold. But I'll tell you what, when it got down to, I know here in my personal experience, when it was 17 degrees, I've never lost any bird besides a few pigeons, you know, just domestic pigeons. I also raise a lot of those. But they do a pretty good job. But you will have an issue with frostbite. And I have a couple of my helmetids. They did lose some toes from last year's freeze. This year, you know, everything went well. But last year, you know, the frostbite was really the only thing that affected them. But yeah, I mean, and their diet isn't too complicated either. You're gonna want to feed them the fruits, you know, like I said about how I feed all my animals the fruits. You're gonna want to feed them layer pellets, you know, which is like what chickens eat. You're also gonna want to give them the high protein cat food, and then they will also eat mice and stuff like that as well. You could feed them meat as well.
Right. Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Um, yeah, so on to the next question. So oh, yes, on sticking with the soft bills. Um, this is a good question. As far as like hand feeding goes, like I'm sure there's a huge difference. What is your experience with that? Like I know you've hand fed some yourself.
Yeah. So are you asking the difference between like a parrot and a soft bill, or?
Yeah, like like usually when you're hand feeding like hook bills, like say green cheeks,
Yeah.
you syringe them, or some people crop feed. It really depends, but like say just even syringing, usually like they're very eager feeders and they'll take it like super fast and it goes right down into their crop. So
Yep.
tell us the difference between feeding a soft
So
bill and a hook bill.
So the only soft bill that I've raised from baby, from like day one, would be the Turacos, and I haven't produced any myself, but I've raised some for friends. Um, they're actually not that hard to raise, as long as you have the brooder and you have the knowledge. Every animal you're gonna need a certain amount of knowledge, to get into. But it's not that much. It's not that much harder than hand feeding a hook bill. So for the Turacos, what you're gonna want to do is, like I said, not everybody does everything the same way. What works for me may not work for you. For mine, I was feeding them a fruit dove hand feeding formula, along with, you mix it with water, similar to KT with water for the or whatever else brand they use for
Okay.
the parrot. You mix that with water, and then you also throw a little bit of applesauce in there. And the applesauce is supposed to be, what their parents would feed them, which is pretty much fruits, right, and soft bill pellets. So you're gonna feed them that for the first few days, and you're gonna feed, and they're different. The way they eat also is different than parrots. So you're gonna have to feed them like half a cc, and then you're gonna have to, so at a time. So you're gonna feed like half, and then they're gonna swallow because they don't have a crop. The Turacos do not have a crop. So you're gonna feed, they're gonna swallow, then you're gonna feed again, then they're gonna swallow. And I don't remember the exact amount of cc's that you feed them each feeding, but you feed them every 2 hours when they first hatch, and then it goes up from there. Then when they get a little bit older, you're gonna feed them. You're gonna get the soft-filled Missouri soft-filled pellets. You're gonna soak them. And what I actually did, it worked for me. I don't know if it's gonna work for other people, but I also, just to get the birds' taste buds ready, I kind of soaked the pellets like a lot, kind of like watery, but kind of like syrupy at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. You have to do it to understand. And I fed that to them through the syringe. Um, and also when they get a little bit older, and these birds, they grow quick, they really do. So by like 2 to 3 weeks old, you can feed them soaked pellets, and you make them like soft, like you soak them in water and they get very soft. So you feed them. You can use your hand, or you can use a spoon or a fork. I prefer spoon, and you just give it to them and they'll eat it. And then you could also begin introducing fruits. So I started with papaya. You don't want to do papaya too early, because if you've ever had it on your hands, you do know it kind of dries your skin out.
Right, yeah.
So you're gonna want to give them a little bit of banana, but little pieces, little pieces. And it's really interesting process. I've raised two babies from day one, and I've raised one from 3 weeks, and it was really rewarding and great experience. Some people use the for substrate on these birds. Some people use alfalfa hay. I found that to be not the best option, actually, and that is due to the birds. So you don't want them to get splayed leg, and you do not want their feet to get their feet or toes to get messed up. So they need something to grab onto, similar to like a nest like they would have in the wild, right? So it'd be like sticks, small sticks and whatnot. So from what I use and what I would recommend to other people that works for me is the pine leaves, pine tree leaves. So they're if you've ever seen them, they're kind of like very small branches, and that
Yeah, of
works
course.
well for me on the Turaco.
And the funny thing with those Turacos is like they're so beautiful when they're adults, but like when they're chicks and like going through their like first molt, they're like kind of go through like an ugly stage where they're like
Yeah,
very
yeah.
like almost
So
like hideous.
so they start off really really cute, especially when they first hatch, because they're so fluffy
Yeah.
and they look like a stuffed animal, to be honest with you. And then when they get around like 4 weeks old, that's when they start looking ugly. And then when they hit like maybe 9, 10 weeks, and they start getting their adult plumage, they start looking gorgeous again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
They look like a crow before that.
Right.
Yeah.
So Speaking about you raising birds in the cold weather and whatnot, because I know you raise, I believe you raise birds in Texas, correct?
Yes, Texas.
What is it like raising these birds? Because is it like, say for example, like somebody that might just start getting into outdoor breeding, do you need to acclimate the birds? Could you just bring them out? Like, how would that work?
You definitely need to acclimate the birds. You never
Okay.
want to throw the bird out there. Then you would run into issues, right? So you're gonna want to put the bird, when the weather's, I guess, at like medium, so maybe like 70, 80s, and then just let them ride out. But you're gonna always want to you always want to supervise your birds. Even an acclimated bird you can have issues with. But that's why you always just gotta observe and make sure you're taking care of them properly. I've never had any issues. I've never had any issues from the cold weather. It got down to, like I said, 17 last year, and that was the coldest probably. It was, I didn't lose anything. The birds did fairly well, but at the same time, I didn't just have them out in the open. I had them protected from the elements. I actually have a metal building, and I covered all the openings with plastic, so there's no wind hitting them, none of that. And it was much cool. It was much warmer in the building than outside. And they also have a nest box. I've heard I mean, I've been told by many people that they've had parrots outside, no cover, just a nest box, no issues. So it really
Yeah,
just
I've heard of many different things as well.
it really just depends.
I know people that have them over here in Virginia, and I'd say it gets a lot colder in Virginia than it does in Texas. Um,
Oh,
because I mean, Texas, you get pretty decent weather most of the time. Like this, I know you said it gets down to 17, and I'm sure you only see snow and like every once in a while, like
yeah. Well,
hardly ever.
the 17 was a rare occasion.
Right?
Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
right now, the weather kind of hit us in a surprising way. It was getting warm, and then it started getting back down to the 30s again. So that kind of sucks. But it never lasts long. It's probably I think by next week we'll be back into the 60s and it's up from there, which is
yeah,
good. It's the start of breeding season. Right now I have the green cheeks. They're breeding, and then more pairs will start breeding as well as time goes by. The Quakers will start as well. I believe next month for me, because I keep them outside. A lot of people keep them indoors and they mess with the lights and the temperature and all that, and they can get babies year round. Good for them. It is good for them. But for me, I like to do it the natural way. So they start from usually March or after March, and then they end in usually September or December. So anywhere between there, you'll get babies. Sometimes you'll get babies before, and sometimes you'll get babies after, even if they're outside. So it
right.
just really depends. You just got to do it and see what happens.
If you're not an aviculturist or if you're not like a bird breeder or keeper, like nobody understands. Like this is like the best time of year for us. Like, like first off, the babies being born and like your pairs going to nest and whatnot, and then, but not just that. Like this is the time we're buying, because you know what I mean. Like everybody's producing. This is the time to buy birds. Like I got a bunch of new birds coming into the aviary. And I'm
Yeah, but
super excited
this is
about
also
it.
the time that prices go up as well because there's so many birds.
Hey, I'll tell
Yeah,
you,
true.
trading is a great thing. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah, I always recommend
I feel
trading, like
like
especially new bloodline, like on rare birds. It's
I feel
always the best.
I feel like in nowadays day and age with breeders and like new avicultures that are just starting, I feel like the biggest problem is people start like burning bridges with one another. I feel like people should help one another out, and like for example, like Heather and I, like if I need something from Heather, Heather will help me, or if she needs something, like I'll try to help her. Like, you should work together as like a team and friends, because if you need something, your partner or your friend will help you out. It's not that, oh, I have these birds and they don't, so let me keep these to myself. It shouldn't really work like that, because at the end of the day, we're trying to, help grow the number for some of these birds that may even go extinct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're saying is 100% correct. Too many people are greedy, man, to tell you the truth. Not only in the bird world, just in general. So many people are greedy and selfish, and that sucks. But let's be honest, there's a lot of people that are nice as well. There's a lot of good people in
Correct.
this world. Don't get
Oh
that
yeah.
wrong. I mean, I look, I don't know everything. I'm here on this podcast sharing my experiences and information with you guys. But you know, like I said, I'm not the all-knowing. Nobody is really all-knowing. Everybody is always learning. Everybody's always learning. You know, learning new things, going through new experiences, and trading is good. You know, like you said, the price goes up, but at the same time, when you're trading, you know, I have this, you have this. You know, let's make it happen. You know, and it makes the bridge stronger when you guys do that. Definitely, if you're both getting what you like and what you need. Oh, you know, it's a great thing to do. It's great for networking, and it's great for everybody. Um, it really is.
Yeah, and when people actually work together, a lot of things get done better, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I first started, like I wish more people would like embrace people that are new to birds, you know, or newer to birds cuz like we're all young aviculturists and like so many people said like when as people were getting older and older, like we are going to be that next generation. In 10 years, I'm still going to be in this. I'm still going to be doing birds. Like I'm every year I'm like my birds are increasing. I'm getting nice new species to work with, and you know every year I progress, and and that could be said with all of us. With all three of us, you know, we've developed a friendship, and every year we are progressing, and you know what I mean, like
100%.
every year, and but at the same time, you know, there's a lot of people that want to see others fail.
Yeah.
Like when I first started, I've told this story before. When I first started, there was a woman who was, I guess, well-known breeder here in my state. And she sold me a bunch of birds that were way too old to breed and all her garbage that just didn't do anything. And this was really devastating to me who just started out, you know, and like I didn't know too much, like I didn't have a lot of knowledge and um you know, and it's just really sucks that people treat like new people coming into this hobby and it just aviculture in general like in a certain type of way and it just puts those people in a bad light and it puts you know what I mean? Like it just puts everybody in a bad light when everybody should be working together and more inclusive because like you know, my mentors, like they've taught me so much and like I am very like I'm very thankful and grateful for those people in my life. And we all have mentors, you know what I mean? Like all three of us have mentors.
As
And
well, yes.
without those without those mentors that we've had, like
We would
we
definitely
wouldn't
not
be
be
where we're
there where
at.
we are. Yep.
We would not be where we're at. Like and I'm so thankful for those people that actually do give like give and care for you know new people coming into this because like without those people we wouldn't probably be here at all like we wouldn't have half the birds half the knowledge whatever
Mentors are always good because they tell you the mistakes they made when they were getting into breeding or just in general, not even
Yeah, yeah.
just birds. A mentor is somebody that you look up to that teaches you like how to do things and how to like
It makes it much easier.
yeah, exactly. So they provide like shortcuts so you don't have to go through the same mistakes. So yes, having a mentor is always important.
And guys, you know, I came here to share my knowledge and my experiences with you guys in the world. I'm by no means an expert. You know, I really don't think anybody is. Like I said, everybody's constantly learning and whatnot. So it was really great to be here and talk to you guys. It really was.
yes and we really loved having you on the show like I mean we talk all the time like you know
Yeah.
outside the podcast but like we really enjoyed you know all the knowledge you had to share with everybody else and one last thing before we go um and it's going to be if you could give one piece of advice to a new aviculturist what would it be? We like to ask this question a lot on here just
What would
because
it be?
like you know this is something that's like a good takeaway for someone that's coming on the podcast.
Well, it would be to just do it. Just get it
Right.
done. Just start on it. Do it. No matter what anybody tells you, no matter what you're doubting, just do it. Really. Just do it. If you get your dreams, go towards
Yeah.
your dreams. Run towards your dreams. Even if you think, oh, it's not gonna work. No, do it. Try it out. It will work. As long as you work hard enough, you will get it. If you want it, if you really want it, and you work for it, you'll get it.
Right, and that's a great piece of advice. Well, that's gonna be all the time for today. Thank you so much to
Thank you.
Haidar and
Thank you
Brookshire
guys.
Birds. Check him out on Facebook. The link will be down at the bottom. And yeah, that's gonna be the end of our episode for today. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you next week. Thanks.
Thank
Bye bye, everybody.